Amira sat at the corner of the bustling rooftop restaurant, her fingers nervously tracing the rim of the untouched glass of water. She had been given strict instructions: show up, smile sweetly, and somehow sabotage the blind date between the handsome CEO and the woman he was supposed to meet tonight. It sounded easy enough, until she saw him. A tall man in a crisp navy suit stepped into the restaurant with the kind of presence that made people turn their heads without realizing it. His brown hair was slightly tousled as if he hadn't had time to fix it after work, and his deep, watchful eyes carried a weight that didn't belong to someone who had everything. Amira's heart skipped a beat before she quickly reminded herself why she was here, not to admire him, but to ruin his evening. The unexpected assignment. Just 2 days ago, Amira had been sitting in her small apartment staring at overdue bills and wondering how to keep the lights on. Her part-time job at the bookstore barely paid enough for rent, let alone her younger brother's school fees. When Layla, her college friend, called with a proposition, Amira almost laughed. "It's just one night," Layla had said over the phone. "You don't even have to like him. Just make sure he walks away from that date thinking it was a disaster. You'll get $500. $500. Enough to pay the electric bill and still have something left for groceries." Amira had agreed before her conscience could protest. She hadn't expected the man to be someone like Ryan Carter, a name she'd only ever seen in business magazines. A single dad, a self-made millionaire, and as she was about to find out, nothing like the arrogant tycoon she had imagined. The blind date begins. Ryan's assistant had arranged the blind date, insisting it was time for him to move on after years of raising his daughter alone. When Ryan reached the table, he smiled politely, but there was a distance in his eyes, as though he wasn't sure he wanted to be there. Amira quickly improvised, pretending to be the woman he was supposed to meet. Her plan was to irritate him, talk too much, complain about everything, make him regret the evening. But instead, as the night went on, she found herself laughing at his subtle sense of humor and softening when he spoke about his 7-year-old daughter, Lily. "She's the reason I work as hard as I do," Ryan said, his voice low but tender. "Sometimes I feel guilty for missing bedtime stories because of meetings." Something about the way he said it made Amira forget her script. She wasn't supposed to care, but she did. A crack in the plan. The more Amira got to know Ryan, the harder it became to continue the sabotage. She noticed how he treated the waiter kindly, how he paused to let her speak, and how genuine his laughter sounded. For a man of his stature, he seemed refreshingly down-to-earth. At one point during dinner, a sudden gust of wind blew through the open rooftop and knocked over a glass vase, shattering it near their table. Without hesitation, Ryan reached across the table to shield Amira from the shards, his protective instinct startling her. It was in that moment she realized he wasn't the cold-hearted businessman she had been led to believe. He was human, and she was starting to care for him. The truth unfolds. But the truth had a way of catching up. 2 weeks after that night, during which Ryan had asked to see her again and she'd agreed, the guilt became unbearable. Amira knew she couldn't build a relationship on a lie. When she finally confessed to Ryan in his office, her heart pounded so hard she thought it might give out. "I wasn't supposed to meet you that night," she admitted, her voice shaking. "Someone paid me to ruin your date, but I couldn't do it because I met you." Ryan didn't respond at first. His jaw clenched, and for a moment she thought she saw pain in his eyes, betrayal even. "So the night I thought was real was?" he asked quietly. Amira shook her head, tears welling up. "It was real for me," she whispered. "I never planned for this to happen." Challenges they faced. Ryan couldn't trust her at first. The walls he had built around his heart only grew higher, and Amira's attempts to explain were met with silence. At the same time, the person who had paid her, the woman originally set up for the blind date, spread rumors about Amira, accusing her of being a gold digger. Amira's brother's school found out about the scandal and almost expelled him due to the unwanted media attention surrounding Ryan. And Lily, Ryan's daughter, who had grown fond of Amira, was caught in the middle, asking her father why he wouldn't let Miss Amira visit anymore. Amira wanted to give up, but something inside her told her to fight, not for the money, not even for herself, but for the man and the little girl who had unknowingly given her hope. Redemption. Months passed before Ryan reached out again. He invited her to meet him at the same rooftop restaurant where it all began. When she arrived, unsure of what to expect, he was already seated with Lily beside him. "Lily has something to ask you," Ryan said gently. The little girl shyly looked up at Amira and said, "Will you come to my dance recital next week?" In that moment, Amira saw a flicker of forgiveness in Ryan's eyes. He had realized that despite her mistake, she had been genuine in her care for both of them. It wasn't easy. Trust had to be rebuilt slowly. But over time, Ryan saw the sacrifices Amira had made for her brother, her determination to be better, and the way she always put others before herself. Those qualities reminded him of the wife he had lost years ago, and that's when he knew his heart had already chosen her. A new beginning. A year later, at the same rooftop restaurant now decorated with soft lights and flowers, Ryan got down on one knee. Lily was the one who handed Amira the ring. "I fell in love with you despite everything," Ryan said. "Because you taught me that people deserve second chances, and so do I." Amira's tears fell freely as she nodded, whispering a trembling yes. Inspiring message. Their journey wasn't perfect. It was full of mistakes, forgiveness, and growth. But it showed that sometimes love isn't about flawless beginnings. It's about finding the courage to forgive and start anew. If you're watching this story, remember, everyone deserves a second chance, and kindness can change even the most broken hearts.